diverse departments. A lot of these sound like the standard cliches you find in any document of strategy building. But I'd like to draw your attention to the first of the strategies, vision building. Agenda 21's second thrust of reorienting university education also links with the UNESCO IIS strategy for institutional frameworks, that is vision building. That we need to envision what it means to live within environmental limits and work sustainably. As part of this, we need questioning, thinking, and revising education from preschool through university to include more principles, knowledge, skills, perspectives, and values related to sustainability in each of these three realms: environment, society, and economy. And this is important, of course, for our current and future societies. Now, the important thing is, it is suggested by UNESCO that this should be done in a holistic and interdisciplinary context, also engaging society, carried out by individual nations in a locally relevant and culturally appropriate manner. I highlighted the holistic and interdisciplinary context because I would like to see how far we have been attempting to do this in our Sri Lankan university system as well. As you can see, ESD, with its emphasis on education, has relevance to the university community. But to what extent is there awareness of this concept and no implementation in our degree programs, curricula, research, and management practices? Do we engage in vision building for ESD? How do we better improve this existing situation to bring it into alignment with ESD and implement it in a meaningful manner? Practical action for ESD includes including and supporting in our curriculums the concept of ecological intelligence. And this needs some thinking and some work and obviously some vision. ESD in teaching and learning requires some theoretical basis in teaching and learning and application of these, avoiding ineffective rote learning that would repeat the errors of the planet to its current great environmental crisis. We need creative approaches to problems of unsustainability. For example, we need to use problem-based learning in our education in order to create a new generation of people who can solve the problems that have been created before and avoid problems that could be created. That needs to come through our education system itself. The ability of both teachers and students to engage in critical thinking and make linkages with areas outside their immediate specialty can then be done with more ease. Specialization in education and training is unavoidable, but I would submit that, contrary to some of the expert opinions or suggestions that have been made, we do not need yet another sustainable development specialist to make these linkages, such as more master's programs on sustainable development. But what we do need is, according to my view, all specialists should be willing to make the efforts to understand the interactions between different fields of knowledge, and that they should be able to use it effectively for teaching and researching within a holistic ESD paradigm, that is, to integrate multidisciplinary approaches into existing curricula. We need to also have practical action with regard to linkages, institutional, social, cultural, local, regional, and global, and to tackle real-world problems through contributions by academia. All of this together, in my view, would direct development towards sustainability. My conclusions are that we need more research on ESD strategies by Sri Lankan academics with regard to how we take ESD into account, especially in planning, revising curriculums, and teaching and research. We need further cooperation amongst different fields of knowledge within our university system, as well as linkages with outside of the academic bubble. Successful ESD strategies would mean that the most suitable professionals could be trained within our education system to face the challenges of maintaining sustainable development well into the future. I leave you with a few take-home questions for all of you, both teachers and students. Is our education of good quality? What does quality mean now? And I would recommend that everyone has education scheme for the new ESD definition of quality. It includes these matters. Can our students identify key concepts and describe the ecological, economic, political and social systems in Sri Lanka, the region or the world?